You're sitting in a meeting, someone says something, not even directed at you. But your mind catches it, you replay the sentence. Then you replay your response from yesterday. Then you wonder if that thing you said 3 weeks ago was actually weird. Now you're not listening anymore. You're in a loop. And you know you're in a loop, but knowing doesn't stop it. By tonight, you'll have analyzed this interaction 17 different ways. This is what overthinking feels like from the inside. It's not just thinking too much. It's a specific kind of mental activity that feels like it's trying to protect you, but instead leaves you exhausted. And if you're sitting here feeling seen right now, like someone finally put a name to this thing that's been running your life, there's actually a reason for this. Your brain has a default mode. When you're not focused on something external, it activates. It's called the default mode network, and it's basically your brain's idle screen. But unlike a computer's idle screen, yours is running complex simulations. It's replaying conversations, it's imagining future scenarios, it's problem-solving things that don't need solving right now. It's theoretically trying to keep you safe, but what it's actually doing is creating a prison of what-ifs. The thing is, this isn't laziness, it's not weakness. It's actually a sign that your brain is wired for depth. People who overthink aren't broken versions of normal people, they're operating on a different setting, a more sensitive operating system. Let's talk about what that actually means. The first thing you need to know about overthinking isn't the same as thinking. Thinking is purposeful. It moves towards something. Overthinking is circular. It eats its own tail. You're not trying to reach a conclusion anymore. You're drowning in the process. And here's the cruel part. The smarter you are, the more capable your mind is at this. Intelligent people don't just overthink once and move on. They overthink the overthinking. They analyze their own anxiety. They think about why they're thinking about what they're thinking about. This creates these impossible loops where you're stuck inside yourself, watching yourself get stuck. But that same mechanism, that ability to look inward, to see multiple angles, to anticipate problems, that's also what makes you perceptive. That's what makes you attuned to things other people miss. The trait that's drowning you is also the one that lets you understand people. That's not irony. That's complexity. Why your brain won't stop. There's a concept called cognitive load. It's basically how much information your working memory can hold at once. When you're overthinking, you're keeping too many open files, too many browser tabs. Your brain is trying to process past, present, and future simultaneously, looking for some missing piece of information that will make everything make sense. Here's what's actually happening. Your brain thinks if it just analyzes enough, thinks deeply enough, finds the right angle, it can prevent bad outcomes. It's not paranoia, exactly. It's more like caution evolved into a control mechanism. Your overthinking is, at its core, a failed attempt at safety. You're trying to think your way out of uncertainty. And when your brain realizes it can't, instead of accepting that uncertainty, it just thinks harder. The perfectionism thread most overthinkers have something in common. They're usually their own harshest critics. Not in a way that's visible to other people. You're probably self-deprecating, actually humble. But internally, there's this voice that's constantly evaluating. Am I doing this right? Is this good enough? What if people think This isn't just personality. This is often rooted in what's called conditional self-worth. Somewhere along the line, maybe in childhood, maybe in a specific relationship, you learned that your value was tied to your performance, to being right, to not making mistakes, to being perfect basically, in ways that were never explicitly stated but were absolutely felt. So now, your brain treats every social interaction like an exam, every decision's like it could define you. And since perfection is impossible, you're always failing, always reviewing the test. Always trying to get it right next time. The overthinking isn't really about the content of what you're thinking about. It's about the underlying belief that if you think about it enough, you can control the outcome. You can prevent rejection. You can prevent judgment. You can prevent being seen as not enough. What happens when you keep this pattern eventually? Overthinking becomes background noise. It's just how your mind works. You don't even notice you're doing it anymore. It's in the way you rehearse conversations before they happen. It's in the way you can't make a decision without weighing every possible consequence. It's in the way you lie awake at 3 a.m. running through scenarios that may never happen. And here's the part that really matters. You've probably been told to just stop thinking about it. Stop dwelling, let it go. But that advice treats overthinking like a choice. Like you could simply decide to think less. That's not how your brain works. You can't force your way out of a pattern by simply deciding harder. Your default mode network doesn't respond to willpower the way external tasks do. Trying harder to not overthink is just another form of overthinking. You're fighting yourself. The actual shift, so if you can't force it to stop, what actually changes it? It starts with this, separating the thinking from the thinker. You're not broken because your brain defaults to analysis. You're not flawed because you can see 10 different angles to every situation. That's not a flaw. That's sensitivity. That's depth. The flaw is in believing that your thoughts are facts, that your analysis is truth. Your overthinking brain will always generate worst-case scenarios. It will always find reasons to worry. That's not going to change. But you can change your relationship to those thoughts. You can notice them without believing them. You can see the pattern without being trapped by it. Real insight starts with acceptance. Not acceptance like resignation. Acceptance like recognition. You're not trying to delete this part of yourself. You're trying to understand it, to see it clearly. And when you really see something clearly, it loses some of its power over you. Because here's what nobody tells you about overthinking. It's often a sign that you care, about how you're perceived, about doing things right, about not hurting people, about understanding yourself. Those aren't character flaws. Those are the qualities that make you thoughtful, conscientious, capable of real depth. The problem was never the overthinking itself. The problem was that you learned to see yourself as broken for having a sensitive mind. You learned to experience your depth as a flaw. You learned that the way you process the world meant something was wrong with you. Maybe the real shift isn't learning how to stop thinking so much. Maybe it's learning how to stop hating yourself for the way you think.